Hello, this is your author Mark, inviting you for another interesting YouTube discussion. This video is going to be called the Ukraine Report. Now, the reporting about what's going on in Ukraine has really took a back seat in our so-called mainstream media. That's all right, and even the BBC has pretty much stopped on what's going on with Ukraine. Now, the last report from Fox News said that Vladimir Putin does not want to go back to the negotiating table. Well, from what I can gather from my sources is, and the reason he doesn't want to do that is because what Vladimir Putin is trying to do is he's trying to negotiate from the position of strength, not weakness. So in this case, what Vladimir Putin wants to do is, now, and there, when it comes to negotiating peace and peaceful settlement between Ukraine and Russia, is that, see, the main problem is neither of those guys, whether Vladimir Putin or Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, they do not want to lose face and look weak in front of their peoples. So that is why, you get a lot of talking heads on Fox News channel and our mainstream media, so-called, and they're saying, we're going to invite an expert, General so-and-so, or we're going to invite this person, so-and-so, which he completed the study of Eastern Europe and all this other stuff. But what those talking heads don't understand is that, what those talking heads do not understand, that Russia is not America, that Ukraine itself is not America. And most of those talking heads on Fox and our mainstream media don't understand that how important it is, whether for the Russian people or the Ukrainian people, is in that case, what you have to do is what they're trying to do now is save face. And so that's what Vladimir Putin is trying to do. He is trying to figure out how he can smoothly come out of this deal ahead, because he knows that he cannot lose face in front of his people. Now, because when it comes down to saving face, you get these talking heads on Fox News. They think they know it all, but they don't understand is how honor is most important to these people, and not how important it is for each person, whether Ukrainian or Russian, it is not to lose face. Because when either of those people, whether Vladimir Zelensky or Vladimir Putin, lose face, that is when each of them could lose power. Lose power and the prestige, and they can even lose their presidencies. Now, some of you may say, Mark, are you supporting Vladimir Putin, or are you supporting the Ukrainian Vladimir Zelensky? Well, in this case, ladies and gentlemen, I do not support neither of them. What I am trying to give you on my channel is basically the information of what is really going on in the Ukrainian conflict, and I'm trying to analyze it from basically my perspective. Now, the other thing is that the thing is, some of you may say, "Oh, we are separated by the ocean. What does it matter what does it matter to us if Ukraine gets taken over by Russia or whatever?" Well, in this case, you have to understand two things. One is that we do import about 50% of our wheat from Ukraine, and some other food supplies too. Don't kid yourself on that. Now, the second thing is that, okay, if Ukraine falls, then what you have to understand is that the next target could be Poland. Now, although and this is another great rigmarole when it comes to the issue of Poland and Ukraine, because the thing is, because Poland has given away their some of their old military equipment that they had to help out the Ukrainians. But here's where Poland has made a big mistake. Yes, they got rid of some of the obsolete military equipment. True. But here's where they got themselves. This is where they got themselves into trouble, because although they gave away their old Soviet equipment, those army units do not have the replacement for that equipment. That is the problem. And from my sources in Poland, that I am going to link these sources on my Facebook page, by the way, and I am going to try to link those sources from that I get, the Polish news sources. I'm going to link it also in the comments section, and I am going to link it in the description of my video when I put it up on YouTube. But the thing is, a lot of those Polish generals are saying that that unfortunately, if Russia were to invade today, that Poland would not even last 5 days. Okay, that when a push comes to shove, Poland is at a disadvantage, because here's the thing: if Ukraine falls, ladies and gentlemen, here's the rub and the nub. What makes you think, if Ukraine falls, that Vladimir Putin doesn't decide to actually invade Poland? That's another thing. And what those generals in Poland are saying, and a lot of defense foundations and all those other things, those people are saying, is that Poland will not only not last 5 days when Russia invades, but if and when Russia invades, that is. And the second thing that Poland has is that some of those generals are really worried about, and I don't blame those Polish generals are worried about, and I don't blame them for this, is that they are worried about would actually, that they are worried that United States might not honor their pledge to actually defend Poland as a NATO member, which is justifiably so. in that case. I mean, their fears are justified, because seriously, if I was the Polish generals, I would be worried about it too, and worry about that too. Now, the other thing is that because let me tell you, like I said before, if this negotiation will go through, and I say if, again, if there's going to be a peaceful settlement to this Ukrainian conflict, ladies and gentlemen, then unfortunately, see, at this point right now, neither Vladimir Zelensky wants to give in, and neither does Vladimir Putin wants to give in. That is the problem. There's going to have to be, on both sides here, both give and take. I mean, and in my opinion, not both sides are not going to get everything they want. But the thing is, of course, if these negotiations go right, then of course Vladimir Zelensky is going to have to give something up, and Vladimir Putin is going to have to give something up. I mean, because now, so in this case, what I'm saying is that there is no clear winner in this conflict, but when it comes to negotiations, of course there's going to have to be a winner and a loser. So at this point, there is no, in my opinion, there is no clear solution to this Ukrainian conflict. Now, the other thing is that the other thing is, what worries me is that Ukraine wants to join the European Union. Okay, I wouldn't do that, but okay, Ukraine is such such banned on joining the European Union, but doesn't Ukraine realize that once they join the European Union, in my opinion, Ukraine will have to give up its own nation's integrity and sovereignty in that case, because here's how this giving up, here's what might happen to Ukraine once it joins the European Union, and that is that it's going to give up its own sovereignty. Basically, if Vladimir Zelensky is going to be still the president of Ukraine, then he's going to have but in reality he's not going to be the president of Ukraine if Ukraine joins the European Union, and that is because he's going to have to do whatever the people in Brussels tell him to do. So in that case, he's going to have to give up his country's integrity and sovereignty and control of his nation to somebody else. So that is also in my opinion, a bad situation. Now, there's one other issue that's really that's really not being discussed about this conflict in Ukraine, that is basically the question of Poland. That unfortunately Poland by itself, it is not going to be able to actually resist the Soviet invasion on its own. Now, if NATO helps Poland, then that's great. That's good for them. But what if? Now I'm saying what if, and nobody's talking about this. What if that basically because NATO can do whatever it wants in its own interest. So what if NATO tells Poland that says, okay, here's 100 rifles for you, but then you will have to defend yourselves. Then what is Poland gonna do? So like I said, I'm gonna leave the sources where I got this information from, that about the situation between Poland and Ukraine, and I'm going to translate for you right now. One of the defense foundations, Mr. Jacek Hoga, said, from what he can gather of his reports and all that stuff, he even said that unfortunately, because Poland gave up their obsolete military equipment, then unfortunately Poland will not even last 5 days, and he even says it. And the reason he said that is because although yes, the Poland has given their own obsolete military equipment to Ukraine, but what Poland does not have is the sufficient number of replacement. Like, for example, if they give up their T-72 tanks for Ukraine, they don't have enough Abrams tanks to actually replace the T-72 that Poland just gave away to Ukraine, and that is a big problem. So what I'd like for you to do is give me a subscription, give me thumbs up. You can also comment on my. You can comment on what I'm saying, and if you can give me thumbs up. You can write a comment, and you can tell me if you like these types of videos or not. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I will see you in my next one.